Welcome. I am your host, Ramonda Jan, the founder of Women Thrive Media, visibility expert, and inspirational speaker. I founded this global community for women so every woman who is starting or running a business can feel like she has found a place to belong. So every woman is empowered to use her voice and share her message with the world. Hi, and welcome to today's podcast episode with one of our amazing guests from Women Thrive Speakers. Today we have our guest, Caroline Bellenger. Hi, Caroline. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Ramonda. And yourself?
Good. Where are you joining us from today?
From the Gold Coast in Australia.
Wow.
So in the middle of summer. So it's lovely and warm. It's actually Australia Day here today.
Oh, wow.
As well.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm very excited about today's conversation because today we're talking about how to build unshakable confidence to reach your goals. And confidence is one of those things that I find women struggle with the most compared to men. And sometimes we just need a secret key to unlock that confidence. And it really depends on our confidence, how we're going to reach our goals. So our guest today is Caroline Bellenger. She's self-esteem coach, business coach, and award-winning entrepreneur, mental health advocate, and inspirational speaker. After experiencing childhood sexual trauma and abuse, over 20 years of addiction and mental health abuse, and 20 years of addiction and mental health issues, Caroline got sober 13 years ago and enhanced her life by creating a toolbox of strategies that enabled her to improve her mindset, self-esteem, and create successful business. So, Caroline, welcome to the podcast. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background story.
Yeah, as you've said in there, I guess for me, like the main thing was because of my childhood trauma, I started very early with feelings of not good enough and not lovable and, confusion. So as a child, I remember being really nervous and not having confidence then. And as I got into addiction, I was using alcohol to build confidence as an escape mechanism as well. So I guess now being sober, that's why I'm so passionate about, inspiring other women that, it doesn't matter where you've come from or what's happened, you can build that confidence in your life.
Yeah, and I think so many people struggle with confidence. What do you think are the causes for most people when they are struggling with confidence?
Yeah, I think, for a lot of us, I guess the main things you've got, growing up, we're all different and we all react to situations differently. So often, with children, I think there's a perception, especially that children, are not as intelligent, they don't understand. So sometimes, adults can talk down to children, and that actually can impact their confidence at that age by not believing them, not trusting them, not encouraging them to be, who they are. And then as we get through society, especially for women, I think there's so much pressure on women to be something, a career woman, a mother, a partner, a carer, a good business lady. And so with that pressure, sometimes the pressure's on before the confidence is built. And to go into that world under pressure can actually have the detrimental effect on people's self-esteem because they're not prepared.
I think life in general really can throw a lot of curveballs, and sometimes the experiences could happen early in a childhood, but then also life could really throw some curveballs and knock your confidence down. I know when I was young, I was very confident and outgoing, and then trauma happened in my mid-20s that really took away my confidence and my identity. How can we support women who are struggling with that inner confidence, and really it's starting to affect their daily lives?
Yeah. And I think the first thing I think for women is to, be aware that that's how they're feeling, and to, have good support is so important, to be around the right people where you can be vulnerable and share how you're actually feeling. Because I think for many of us, we put on a mask and pretend everything's okay. and try and deal with it on our own without support or without judgment. But again, that just then pushes us further because we're not getting the support we need to accomplish things. And without that support, it's harder, or we don't reach our goals without support, which then reinforces our lack of confidence. So, yeah, I think awareness would be the first step for women, and to have that circle of friends and support where you can be vulnerable when you're struggling and be okay with that.
And I know in your journey, and I want to kind of talk a little bit more about that. From an early age, you went into sort of self-sabotage to, I guess, mask those feelings. So tell me a little bit more about your journey that you have had to go through in order to find yourself and how that happened.
Yeah. So for me, I guess I drank so I didn't have to feel, so I didn't have to deal with the emotions about the abuse from my uncle. And then, when he was out of the picture when I was in my early 20s, it had become habitual that I used alcohol for confidence. And then the more I drank, the more, I maybe behaved in ways that created shame and guilt, which then perpetuated the cycle of drinking because I, over time disliked myself more and more and judged myself more and more. Other people judged my behavior. Still on the outside I was, the party girl and happy and all of that. So, my life was such a roller coaster. And then I guess my biggest pivot came when I got pregnant, and I was 32 at the time. I'd been living overseas, came back to Australia. I was in a bit of a mess when I got back to Australia, so I'd never planned to have children. And so this was quite unexpected. And anyway, I went through a few traumatic experiences finding out I was pregnant, and that certainly, didn't help my confidence. I ended up having my child, and I think then having a child and not dealing with my own issues was extraordinarily challenging in those first few years because I was still drinking. My father also passed away when my son was 1 year old, and I was very close to him. So my world just came crashing down around that time. And I guess I tried to be confident, but I got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. So that's when I sort of, really got more heavily into drinking and, suicidal. I'd had, a few attempts of suicide over the years because of that. Yes, it became self-hatred.
Yeah.
Because, 20 years of not really dealing with emotions led to this absolute self-hatred of myself.
Wow. And it's quite profound. And women who might be going through something or have gone through something and perhaps have not had the courage to face those feelings, this might be a moment of real realization that you don't have to self-sabotage and go through that. So what was that journey when you had to actually come face to face with your feelings, with your trauma, and what has helped you to kind of turn a new chapter?
Yeah. So, and I think that, and that's one thing I would say to, every woman out there. I get it that alcohol is immediate relief. However, for me over long term, it just exaggerates everything that's bad and negative. And being aware of that, it's like anything in life, short-term fixes rarely end up to be sustainable long-term solutions. So for me, yeah, I had a beautiful, my son was 7, and just, love of my life. And I was just exhausted from being me. I was exhausted waking up every day. I had a reasonably good life. I was quite functional to a point, but inside I was in turmoil. So yeah, I ended up doing a 6-month residential rehab. And yeah, it's not like what you see on the movies where it's all fancy and swimming pools and lovely like that. Nothing like that at all. It was actually quite brutal. A lot of cognitive behavior therapy. It was peer therapy. So you're in you spent most of your time with 20 other addicts and you called each other out on your behaviors under the guidance of a few psychologists. We had people who came from jail to do their time in the rehab. They actually went back to jail, many of them, because it was easier. Again, easier not to deal with their emotions. But like I said, best thing that I ever did. But I didn't just walk out of rehab as this whole wonderful woman full of confidence. It probably took about 13 years. I would say it's taken, it took a good 10 of those years before I really found the keys and the strategies.
And it's in the doing. I do find that a lot of the secrets are in the doing and facing ourselves. Now you one of the award-winning entrepreneurs, a serial entrepreneur, you have multiple businesses. You're quite a power woman. How did you build up your success in business, and what was some of the keys that helped you find your confidence?
And interestingly, the first 2 jobs I had when I got sober, both ended up being extraordinarily destructive, toxic, bullying. Especially the second one. I was there for 6 years. I loved the job, but it actually, because I loved the job, I wanted to stay in it. So therefore, I actually found confidence because I didn't want to get pushed out of my job, regardless of how toxic it was.
Mm.
At the same time, I also then learnt that sometimes you have to walk away to find peace. And, that was all, again, learning experiences. And it was after that I quit my job. I actually got a mentor and a coach. And I went on the next journey. I opened a small gym because I was really passionate about the mind and body connection and how that impacts how we feel about ourselves. I'm like, exercise really does solve 95% of all your problems because it just puts you in a better frame to begin with. But I opened a gym, got a coach, got a mentor who I've now been with it's been 5 years, but then I also transitioned from building my own businesses under this coach to being a coach for this company as well.
Wow.
So I'm one of their master coaches. So I can share all my learnings with other entrepreneurs. And that's what brings me the most joy, which I know you can relate to.
Yeah, of course. It's the work that we do. It's just so transformational. And seeing someone, let's say in your case, from someone who might be struggling with that self-esteem and self-confidence issues, to them being ready to take over the world and, being ready to pursue their big goals and dreams that perhaps they were holding themselves back because they would question themselves or not feel good enough or worthy enough of pursuing them or even attaining them as well.
And I think the big thing for me is starting where you're at and knowing that wherever you're at, whatever's happened in your past, whatever age you are now, whatever situation you're in right now, you're enough right there and then. And then just start taking little steps towards your goals. They don't, I love that there are no small changes. Because sometimes we get, and that's where, having that confidence to achieve goals by believing in ourselves, but also setting realistic goals in between those big goals so that we are always achieving and rewarding ourselves, achieving and rewarding, achieving and rewarding, not, setting our goals so high that we're constantly chasing it, and then getting overwhelmed or disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It's like, as I say, celebrate your wins every day. There's always something to be grateful for. And we've been, I've known you for a little while now. And what really brings me joy about seeing it is just you're always in this happy, positive mood. And sometimes we have calls and it's 5 a.m. in the morning and you're on the beach, but you're absolutely happy. And how do you create this joy in your life? What brings you so much joy in your life?
Well, for me, and look, I would say, especially even the last 12 months, it certainly hasn't been easy. I've had a lot of challenges, but what I have learned is, yeah, have those moments, and you've got to recognize, certainly don't support that toxic positivity where we all have to be happy all the time. But there's always something, I think you touched on it, there's always something to be grateful for, and for me, I look back at my life and what I have overcome. And honestly, I do wake up every day, no matter what's going on in my world, and I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful that I've woken up today and I have an opportunity to do something. I do actually, I'm very lucky because I live in probably what I think is the most magnificent, beautiful place on the planet. So, being able to go to the beach and do that every morning. And that's my non-negotiable though. My non-negotiable is that's what I do every day to set myself up for a better day. So if I'm, going through these challenges that I have, and, a lot of people did in COVID and, lingering from all that, do something that's going to set you up that makes you feel good, whatever that is for you. But if you can start your day with something that makes you feel good, then the challenges through the day aren't as bad.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love just the energy of the beach as well. A lot of the times we're looking for that fulfillment, joy from outside of us. And I know you're always a big champion of kind of finding all of that within. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think, and that's been an interesting journey for me because I guess we've all maybe been down that track where we go, if I get to this position at work, or if I have this business goal, I'll be happy. If I achieve this health goal, if I lose 10 kilos, I'll be happy. If I get Botox, I'll be happy. But if we aren't working on, if we can't look ourselves in the mirror and like what we see, then chances are none of that external stuff will make us happy. Because, what I learned in my destructive years was that every time I would move town or move job and escape it, I would start again afresh and it would all be wonderful for the next time. But eventually I would catch up with myself because I would bring the same me with me. And we can only hide from our true self for so long. And having those beliefs or limiting beliefs, if we don't work on them, we just continually take them with us. And once we for me, I think the more I've learned to love myself, exactly, flaws and everything, like I'm pretty imperfect and I've got plenty of flaws. But I've learned to accept them, embrace them, and therefore they don't drag me down. Therefore I can, and then when I do achieve other things, it's not about the stuff. Most of the things that I get joy out of is the journey. And I find that's, sometimes we get too caught up on the end, whereas, every moment of every day we're achieving things in the part of the journey. And, and when it's challenging, always thinking, okay, I am going to get through it somehow, some way, and there will be something really good that will come from this, because my experience has told me that something good has come from everything bad that's happened to me.
And sometimes, our adversities is our blessings. And as we go
Yes.
through life, those experiences that were difficult become those learning curves that we can then use to help and support others, which is, you've been through the extreme end of um, the situations in your life that perhaps could have been more destructive, and you could not be here right now,
Yeah.
right? Doing what you're doing, but you found that turning point, you found that strength, you found a way to really love yourself. And now you're such an inspiration for other people who perhaps are struggling with some of the same things that you struggled when you were a little bit younger.
Mm. And I think that's, for me, I'm at a point where I can share that. And I think, nothing inspires people more than honesty and truth, and that's why I share, some of the difficult stuff or the challenging stuff, because I know that that's where some women are sitting right now, thinking that they will never, ever, they don't have any hope for the future. And I want them to have hope, because I think that's what inspires us. Having, it's when we lose hope that we lose our dreams. But if we have even just the tiniest speck of hope, that you find a way to just keep going, and it does get better
Yeah,
if we look after ourselves first. Yeah.
absolutely. If there was something that someone could have told you 20 years ago, when you were going through these challenges, what would have been that perhaps could have been a turning point for you?
Um, no, mind you, in thinking that if someone had told me that having a child was going to be the best thing for me, I might have been a single mum at like 18. um, because that definitely, changed my life. But if someone, I think I guess, and I probably do this with my own son now, and I wish that someone had said to me, if you love something, just go out and do it. If it fails, that's okay, but try it. Don't wish for things and never do them. And I guess for him, I'm like, I said, if anything goes wrong, he's just about to go overseas. I said, if anything goes wrong, just ring me. I said, if you've got to get on a plane to come back, if you end up in jail, whatever, we'll find a solution. But don't miss out on opportunities because you're scared of what might happen, or what you might not, or what might not happen.
Hmm.
Just go enjoy life.
I think that's what holds people back a lot about pursuing those big goals. The things that we really want, it's almost we have to come to face with that fear and take a leap of faith. So sometimes it is that self-confidence that really it would be a shame for you not to pursue your goal because you're feeling lack of confidence or lack of self-esteem. Yeah, what do you do when you come face to face with that fear? It's like, oh, I feel it, but I need to do it.
Um, yeah, so for me, and this is where I just, through exercise, and what happened when I was doing triathlon, when I first started triathlons, like I still suffer like major anxiety, and I go through stages of depression, but I used to be so anxious before any competitive event that I would be in tears. I wouldn't sleep the night before. I would be in tears 3 minutes before a race. And if anyone talked to me, I'd go, oh, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Blah, 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 blah. I would get on the line and I would do it. And after, I've probably done hundreds of different events now. And what I found over time was I'd get to the line and go, oh, it's really not that bad. So just keep pushing through. And I learned that no matter how scared I am, nothing is going to end up as bad as what I was thinking in my head. So just do it anyway. So yeah, I think it's hard to just do whatever you can. Just try it, and I love just, with clients and things like that, going, well, why, like, just do it. Just have a go, or do a little bit of it. But I think each time you do it, the more you do that, it almost becomes a bit addictive in that now when I get anxious about something, I get excited as well. And, you know, anxiety is excitement in many ways. It's easy to turn that. And that's one of the skills I teach is when you're feeling that anxiety, it's the same physiological sensation as excitement. So just change your mindset and go, hey, I'm not anxious. I'm just really excited.
Yeah.
And that sometimes gets you through that fear of not doing something. You know, our perception of the world is so important.
Yeah. Perception of the thing that we're going to do and ourselves as well, because sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for,
No.
you know, all the achievements and all the things we have overcome. Just go back and show yourself the evidence of how far you have come already. You may not be where you want to be yet, and we're all on our own individual journeys. There's no judgment. Also, don't judge yourself or, okay, I'm not quite that where I want to be, or I'm not quite good enough. And honestly, just stop judging yourself. And I love that you just said it's just a matter of perception. Sometimes we are not our best friends. Sometimes we are worse enemies.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's always that standard saying of like, well, would you say that to your best friend? Because most of us would encourage our best friend to do everything that they dreamed of. Yet when it comes to ourselves, we're like, oh, no, you can't do it. Oh, no, you're not good enough. Oh, no, you'll never be able to do that. So it's about, you know, talking to ourselves like we are our own best friend. Because ultimately, you know, again, obviously supporting yourself, being around the right people is super important. And I've learned that. However, at the end of the day, you know, no one is coming to save you. You get, which is actually a privilege. You get to create your life. You get to choose who you hang out with. You know, you get to choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think once you find to what you love doing, and it becomes your passion, then, you know, then that unstoppable confidence really comes through, because it's like, you know, it doesn't matter what someone tells you. You're like, no, yeah, I can. Yeah, I will.
You become bold in the pursuit of your goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Always take on critical feedback, though, everyone. Don't.
So, Caroline, you are one of our VIP speakers at the upcoming Women Thrive Summit that's happening in March. And this is all about women empowerment. And your talk, 5 Powerful Secrets to Heal Your Self-Esteem, is your talk. What can people expect if they are attending the summit and looking to tune into your talk?
Yeah. So for me, it's about giving women simple strategies. I think, you know, a lot of times we overcomplicate everything, and it doesn't have to be that complicated. So ideally for me, you know, if women are feeling a little bit stuck, or if they're feeling, you know, not so confident, or, you know, maybe they're not, you know, their body image or their career isn't where they want it to be, then I hope with, you know, after an hour with me, that they are just going to rock it and just walk away and go, yes, I am doing that. That is what I want women to do. I want women to go, yes, I can. I am good enough. I am enough to do this. And, you know, I'm not going to let me stop myself, because that's usually the, you know, the biggest preventative. But yeah, I just want women to find their true joy in their life, to find their passion, to know that they're amazing, to know that they are capable and powerful and strong.
Amazing. Well, for those of you who have perhaps not saved your spot for the upcoming Women Thrive Summit, this is our annual Women Empowerment event that happens 3rd week of March. So go ahead to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your free or paid tickets, whichever option you want to choose. And we have 47 amazing speakers chosen this year who will be taking the stage, women from all around the world, women from Australia, from Europe, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and all around the world. So through this event, I just want to give you a bit of warning that It's probably going to be a life-changing event. I've met women who attended this event year on, and it becomes a life-changing experience when you get to attend talks like Caroline's, who has a powerful story, but also practical tools to give you that will last you a lifetime. These events are going to be changing some lives, and that's the goal. So go over to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your spot, and we look forward to seeing you there. Caroline, how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way to be in your world to get access to any of your support or your teachings?
Yeah, so I've got all the details on my website, which is www.carolinebellenger.com. But you can also find me on Instagram and Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Caroline Bellenger Official. I do run a group, Reclaim Your Life and Find Joy, where I'm doing a challenge coming up. I've also got a couple of groups. I'm doing a drinking group to reduce your drinking. I've got a healing group as well, but that's all on my Facebook page. You can join any of those groups for free. I do videos and every day just about on self-esteem, or share tips all the time about what's going on for me. So yeah, reach out. I love just giving value. If you're following my media, if you want anything more, just contact me. I'm always open to chat to see if I can help someone.
Amazing. So if you feel inspired by Caroline's story today and you're looking for more guidance, support, and just have that safe space where you can be yourself, where you can grow through perhaps your own challenges and become unstoppable with unshakable confidence to build your goals and dreams, then go ahead and connect with Caroline. All the information will be put in the show notes to make sure you follow. And if you enjoyed this episode and you know another woman who may need to hear this, go ahead and share it. I think it's so important that we pass on this knowledge to other people. Caroline, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today, and I hope we get to do this again.
Absolutely, Raymonda. I know not long now to the summit, and I'm very excited. I'm as excited to hear all the other women as well. And like you, we have already had sneak peeks into their lives. So I just know how amazing and inspirational they are, and yourself. So thank you so much for, bringing us all together.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a joy just to watch everyone connect. And I know we already transformed some lives before the summit even happened. And the work that each and every one of you as speakers doing in your lives is so transformative. And that's why we have you here on our stage, to make that global impact. So go ahead and register for your spot. I'm sure you're going to have an amazing time with us. And thanks so much, Karen. I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Till the next episode for now. Thank you. Bye.
Did you enjoy this episode? Share it with the world. Make sure to also leave a review and subscribe for future episodes.